This is the Giants Postcast, your instant game reaction for the San Francisco Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And today, the Giants beat down the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium, that little baby ballpark there in the Bronx. Final score 9-1 in a game that was only 6 innings long due to heavy rainfall on the East Coast. And 7 of the Giants' runs that scored today were initially walks. And they really made the most of their free 90s tonight. Robbie Ray gets the rare 4-inning win due to the shortened game, and Jung-Hoo Lee goes yard in his first at-bat ever at Yankee Stadium. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Giants YouTube channel. If you aren't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed, and make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. My guy, Ben Kaspick, always doing a great job. And as I said, the Giants really capitalized in this one on their free base runners. Giants had 11 total walks in this one. It wasn't just the Giants who were getting walks, though. The Yankees had 5 as well, and I mean, it was hard to pitch today out there in New York, like, to say the least. It was wet, it was soggy. Anybody who was out there trying to throw a baseball over the plate for a strike today really struggled. And you saw as the rain picked up, it just got even harder and harder and harder for anybody out there to throw strikes, but especially Gomez out there, who was on the mound when this one was called in the 6th inning, was really struggling to get pitches over the plate. And the Giants made the most of it. They really capitalized with runners in scoring position tonight. 4 for 14. I will take that any day of the week. But they did most of their damage early on, and I mean very early on. Top 1, Mikey Yaz picks up where he left off after he had that walk-off splash hit. He comes out with a leadoff double today, so that's pretty solid. We had a switch up in the Giants lineup today, and they had to move Lamont Wade down. He has been struggling. Weirdly enough, Lamont Wade, all of his hits this year are extra base hits, but he's not getting on base the same way that he did last year. So they had to move him down in the order, and Mikey Yaz has been pretty solid lately. So he sets the table in the top of the first with that leadoff double. Then a Willy Adames walk sets the table for Jung-Hoo Lee to come up and hit a 3-run bomb over the right center field wall, 387 feet, not very far. And it was only 100 miles an hour off the bat, 100.5. So not the hardest ball we've ever seen hit in the world. But, when it's a sinker right down the middle from Stroman, who really struggled today and has been struggling all season long. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But when you get that pitch, it just kind of carries, even when you got all that wind blowing back in from the outfield. And Lee didn't hit that one super high in the air, which really benefited him on that home run, because all that wind at Yankee Stadium was blowing straight in, and it was the higher up in elevation you went, the faster those winds were. So kind of a low shot over the wall in right center field would only have been a home run in 10 of 30 parks across the big leagues. So that baby ballpark out there in the Bronx paying dividends for the Giants, not for the Yankees today. It absolutely would not have gone out at Oracle Park. 0 chance for that one. But it did give the Giants a 3-0 lead here in this game. Then 2 more walks. Matt Chapman and Elliot Ramos both walk. And up comes Lamont Wade, who got moved down in the order, and he smacks in a double, and it drives in both Ramos and Chapman. And as I said, every hit that Lamont Wade Jr. has had this year so far has been an extra base hit, and that trend continued today. It gave the Giants a 5-0 lead there in that first inning. He ended up batting around, but the Mike Yastrzemski in his second at bat of the inning did strike out. But before we got to Yaz, even after a Tyler Fitzgerald single, Marcus Stroman got yanked from this one. 46 pitches in the 1 inning for Marcus Stroman, not even 1 full inning, in 2/3 of an inning for Marcus Stroman. Ryan Yarbrough came in and kind of solidified things there for the Yankees there and stabilized a little bit what was going on with the Yankees pitcher. And Stroman has been having a really bad season. And I can think just back to a few years ago when there were a lot of Giants fans, myself included, who really wanted to see the Giants go out and get Marcus Stroman. And I'm honestly looking at what we had today out there at Yankee Stadium and what he's been doing all season long. That ERA is sky high for Stroman at this point. I am so glad that the Giants did not go out and sign that guy. His ERA is sitting at a cool 11.57 right now. Stroman walked 3 batters, gave up 4 hits, 5 earned runs. Rough night for Marcus, but great night for the Giants in response to the bad outing from Marcus Stroman. Yankees got a run back in the bottom of the second after a Volpe walk and an Austin Wells double off the top of the wall that was about as close to being a home run as you can get without actually being a home run. John Miller actually called it a home run initially on the NBC broadcast before having to correct himself and say it was actually a double. Yankees, they took a look at it, the umpire crew did, but it was correctly called on the field as a double, not a home run. Volpe scores on the play, and Giants still had a 5-1 lead. And Robbie Ray kind of labored to get through these first 2 innings. 55 total pitches just to get out of the second inning. It was tough. I mean, he was also throwing a ton of balls out there. In that second inning, he threw 30 plus pitches, and he threw more balls than he did strikes. It was not a very good outing for Robbie Ray, but he got through the 4 innings of work without having any more runs scored other than that 1 run. But it did take him 98 pitches to get through it. Only 56 of those 98 were strikes. So he was really having a tough time locating his pitches today out there in wet, soggy New York. But so was everybody else. So we're not going to judge Robbie Ray too harshly on that. Somehow did a very good job of pitching around the kind of dancing around the runners on base and being able to get out of innings with smart pitching. And even though it took him a ton of pitches, he still ends up getting the win in the rare 4-inning start win. That's a rule that applies in shortened games because of rain. So he does actually get a win tonight from this outing. And I'm cool with that. I'm glad Robbie Ray got in the win column. I thought he did enough to deserve a win tonight, kind of suffering through that rain. But the Giants weren't done scoring because in that 5th inning, Lee and Chapman both walk to start the inning. And after Ramos strikes out, Lamont Wade Jr. walks 2 to load the bases. And then Wilmer, slow bouncer back to the pitcher. Lee gets a great jump from third base, and Hill did not have a play at home, so he gets Wilmer out at first. Wilmer with another RBI. It counts the same in the box score, right? Looks like it could have been a rocket down the third baseline that they ended up getting Wilmer out at first with, or a good hit that was robbed up the middle or something like that. It all counts the same. RBI for Wilmer in the situation. 6-1 Giants lead. Then the rain started to really pick up, and we saw a wild pitch get away from Hill, allowed Chapman to score and Wade to advance to third. And then Pat Bailey from the right side, man, we have seen Pat Bailey have a couple really big at-bats and have some solid pieces of hitting from the right side of the plate this year. I think that's a very good sign. Drives one down the right field line, and Lamont Wade scores. Pat Bailey, another double for him. Giants lead 8-1 at that point. And it just seemed like it was going to continue to balloon from there, because in the top of the 6th, when this game ended up being called after, I guess we didn't go a full 6 innings, 5.5, or just under 5.5, the Giants had 3 walks to start the inning. And then after 2 consecutive Giant strikeouts, Lamont Wade Jr. walks and a run scores, walked in a run. As I said, Gomez really could not throw pitches over the plate with consistency for the Yankees there at the end. You saw the grounds crew trying to get stuff ready. You saw the grounds crew talking with the umpire, showing the head groundskeeper was showing the umpire the Doppler on his phone saying, hey, buddy, this isn't going to stop. So I don't know what took them so long to call this one and make it official, but the Giants and the Yankees get enough game in that we can call this one a final score after 5.5 innings. The rain delay extended for a while. I don't really know why. Kind of cut into my Warriors viewing time right now, man. Warriors have like the biggest game of the season until tomorrow, that is, going on right now. We'll be doing a Locked On Warriors postcast on Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel, so make sure you tune in for that after this show. But yeah, the Giants, they got one out in New York to start this series. And I think that's a huge, huge, huge deal, because the Giants have lost each of their past 4 games to the Yankees and are just 1-9 versus the Yankees in their last 10 games dating back to 2016. They were, of course, swept by the Yankees at Oracle Park last year and went just 1-2 against the Yankees in a 3-game series to open the 2023 season. So the Giants, I'm really glad that they got off on the right foot here, because I think that is very important on this road trip, that you got the Phillies in a 4-game set coming up after this. So there is a lot of good baseball. They're going to be playing a lot of games against good baseball teams coming up. And the Giants, if you're, I'm not the biggest Ben Verlander guy. I think it's kind of interesting how this guy just, all of a sudden just roots for whatever team his brother's on. Doesn't really seem very authentic, but I will embrace the fact that Ben Verlander is pushing the narrative really hard that the Giants are a good team, man. And they really are. Like, I really am just shocked at the way that this team has turned all of their weaknesses from last year into strengths this year. I mean, they've gotten much better at hitting with runners in scoring position. The situational at-bats are dramatically improved. The base running aggressiveness, way off the charts for the Giants. That was on display in this one. Again, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But huge changes for the Giants. The defense dramatically improved as well. So, and the bullpen is a top 3 bullpen in all of baseball right now. They have the 3rd best ERA in all of Major League Baseball, only behind the Mets. So it was entering this series. I'm sorry, it was the 2nd best in all of the majors, trailing only the Mets, which have a 2.1 team ERA. The Giants team ERA 2.78. And so, I mean, I think that the Giants are doing a great job. They are 3rd, my bad. The Giants bullpen, 3rd in baseball, overall staff, 2nd in baseball. So 3rd best ERA from the bullpen, 1.79 bullpen ERA. They're behind the Padres and the Mets, and they have the 2nd best staff ERA in all of baseball. So the pitching's doing their job, and the offense today really coming up big. And before we take a quick break here, let's get into the player of the game from tonight's outing.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
In tonight's Locked On Player of the Game, we're giving it to Jung-Hoo Lee, because this guy has just been rolling, man. And he continued to do so again tonight. He had another couple runs scored, 2 runs scored. He had the 1 hit, which was that 3-run jack in that top of the first. He had 2 walks in this one as well. That OPS is sitting at a clean 1,000, and his batting average up to 340. This guy this season has not missed when he swung the bat. His whiff rate is top 94 percentile in all of baseball. His expected batting average is also off the chart. His expecting batting average is 0.359. So, I mean, that is insanely high, 97th percentile in all of baseball. So this guy, bat to ball skills as good as they were advertised. We've, of course, seen him make play after play after play in center field so far. And he was tested out there today, man. With all that wind, he was having to really do the fly ball dance a lot out there, and did not make a single mistake out there in slippery outfield conditions in that, just downpour at Yankee Stadium. So Jung-Hoo Lee, our player of the game. We got a lot more to talk about on the show. We got to talk about the Giants' aggressiveness on the base paths. That's coming up next. And we also got to talk about tonight's turning point and what you'll be talking about. All those things on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. Don't go anywhere. Today's show is brought to you by SupplyHouse.com. Get the supplies you need from the site that's made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is jam-packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House is there for you. They offer expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line and free shipping and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Supply House Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5, that's SH5, for 5% off your first order. Supplyhouse.com. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and tonight the Giants get it done in Yankee Stadium, just demolish those Yankees. 9-1 win in just 5.5 innings called due to rain. And I mean, this is a pretty good sign for the Giants, I think, because again, despite all the rain and all these weird conditions, the Giants were hitting again with runners in scoring position. And I think that's what we'll be talking about after this game.
This is what you'll be talking about.
And what we'll be talking about is not just the hitters with the hits with runners in scoring position. As we said at the top of the show, they were 4 for 14 today, but they also did a phenomenal job of capitalizing on all those free 90s that they got from the Yankees today. 11 walks the Giants got. And I really like the discipline and how they're able to kind of just force these walks. I mean, they still struck out 7 times. That's not great. However, 11 walks is nothing to kind of ignore. I mean, obviously the Yankees were having a hard time throwing strikes today. So are the Giants. Giants walked 5 Yankee batters, but 8 RBIs. And I mean, you only had 6 hits and you score 9 runs. That's great situational hitting. That's a really great job of taking advantage of your situation out there. And you can only play the games that you're that you have the situation. Like you got to play with the situation that's in front of you, right? Like you can't dictate whether or not the rain's going to be there. You got to adapt. And the Giants did a great job of doing that today, picking up their 10th win of the season. The G-Men are 10-3, and they're sitting with a nice start to this road trip after the win. As I said, I think that's paramount for them to get off on the right foot. They play Yankees for 3 games, then they go to Philly to play the Phillies for 4, and then they go to play the Angels for a 3-game set down in Anaheim. I still absolutely despise the Angels. I cannot stand the thought of a rally monkey or thundersticks or anybody with the last name of a fish. No, get all that BS out of here. I want nothing to do with that. So hopefully the Giants sweep those damn Angels down there in Anaheim, but we got to get there first. And you got 2 more games at Yankee Stadium. You've lost 1 series so far this year in the series against the Cincinnati Reds, but you ended it on a high note with that Mike Yastrzemski walk-off splash hit. And they're carrying that momentum now into New York. And I want to see them build on this because I think that Phillies matchup kind of brings back some memories last year, at least for me. Maybe it does for other Giants fans. Keaton win, and not just him, but the other terrible starts that we saw in Philly with all the rain was kind of the start of the end of things for the Giants last season. So they started playing awful baseball after that road trip. So I'd like to see them, kind of finish this one out a little better than it went last season and gain some momentum, gain some confidence from it. I think that would be big for this Giants team. We also got to talk about tonight's turning point before we get into some things that I want to talk about the Giants' aggressiveness on the base path. So tonight's turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
And I thought that turning point, you could say that first inning, honestly, but I think it was Robbie Ray getting out of that second inning, because when he was out there laboring away and he had thrown 33 pitches, I think, in that second inning alone, you saw the Giants get some arms going up in the bullpen. And if Robbie Ray was unable to get out of that inning, that would have maybe changed this game. It could have gone a completely different direction if you had to start going to bullpen arms in inning number 2. That wouldn't have been great. Would not have been great for the Giants. Instead, Ray rebounds and he kind of steadies the ship, and the Giants end up getting out of here. Spencer Bivens did pitch an inning in relief in this one, as Robbie Ray was only able to pitch 4 innings with his 98 pitches. But I thought he stabilized pretty well given the conditions that were out there at Yankee Stadium. Solid outing from Robbie Ray. Gets his 3rd win of the season. One more thing before we get on out of here tonight. I want to talk about the Giants' aggressiveness on the base paths, because you had an incident in the game where you had Tyler Fitzgerald at second base with 1 out, and there was a ground ball to third, and the throw goes over to first, and Fitz super aggressively takes off. As soon as that ball leaves the third baseman's hand, he is off running for third base, and he gets thrown out on the plate just by a smidge. And I know that it's a cardinal sin to get thrown out at third for the last out of an inning. I totally get that. And I get that the situation they were in, they didn't really need to like push for those extra runs right then. But you know what? I can't fault the Giants for doing this because I really love the aggressive philosophy that we're seeing from them on the base paths. And I'm not going to complain when they do stuff like this because all of last year, I begged and pleaded for them to please, for the love of God, utilize the speed that's on this roster. Please try to run the bases a little bit more aggressively. And they never did. And they showed something tonight with that. Didn't pan out in the situation. And it was an inconsequential moment of the game. But I think that this speaks to the philosophy that the Giants have of becoming more aggressive on the base paths. And I love it, man. I'm all about it. It's about all the time that we have for you guys tonight. Didn't have a ton of time to get into the chat today, or really any time to get into the chat today. But I just want to shout out everybody. I saw my guy Scott asking if we had a postcast today. We absolutely do have a postcast today, Scott. And I also saw my guy Mike Chilton in the chat. And Mike Chilton, shout out Mike Chilton and Chilton Auto Body for fixing my car after it got bipped over there in Oakland. You know how that is living in the Bay. So shout out all you everydayers. Thanks for tuning in. Wouldn't be a show without you guys. That's all the time we got today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you tomorrow when the Giants take on the Yankees. And hopefully you'll join us for the Locked On Warriors postcast at the end of this absolutely massive Warriors Blazers game that's over on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Hope you'll join us for that. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show. Ben Kaspick always doing a great job. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.